Hi guys, I'm just testing out to see if I can even live stream or not. I'm not really sure if I can. So testing it out. I will be, as soon as I get this on my other screen, reading from the book of Enoch, just to see if it gets choppy or anything like that. So let me just type this in the chat first. Reading from the book of, the book of Enoch, starting, hi Landon, with chapter, let me know if you hear, hi QP, if you guys hear me okay, because this is the first time I've ever tried this. And I just wanted to see if the reading was choppy and all that. See, starting with chapter 61. Okay. So I'm just going to read like a couple paragraphs and then look at the chat every now and then. Okay. Thus the Lord commanded the kings, the princes, the exalted, and those who dwell on earth, saying, open your eyes and lift up your horns, if you are capable of comprehending the elect one. The Lord of spirits sat upon the throne of his glory, and the spirit of righteousness was poured out over him. The word of his mouth shall destroy all the sinners and all the ungodly, who shall perish at his presence. That day shall all the kings, the princes, the exalted, and those who possess the earth stand up, behold, and perceive that he is sitting on the throne of his glory, that before him the saints shall be judged in righteousness, and that nothing which shall be spoken before him shall be spoken in vain. Trouble shall come upon them, Can you hear me now? Hey guys, let me know when you can hear me, okay? Okay, great. I'm going to try this again. I think my internet just went out a little bit, because I want to find out if it was that or if just my internet is so slow that this isn't going to work or not for me to go live at all. So that's why I'm testing it. So I'm just going to read from Enoch a little bit, and then I'll go through the chat and talk to you guys a little bit. But I just want to have something to do. So I'm going to just read like a couple more paragraphs and then see what happens with it. Okay, so, oh darn, it looks like it's going to go out again. And trouble shall seize them when they shall behold this Son of Woman sitting upon the throne of his glory. Then shall the kings, the princes, and all who possess the earth glorify him who has dominion over all things, him who was concealed. For from the beginning of the Son of Man existed in secret, whom the Most High preserved in the presence of his power and revealed to the elect. Did I go out again, you guys? Can you hear me now again? Yeah. Can you guys hear me now? I think it's broadcasting, but it might be a delay. Okay. I might have to set this on a pretty high delay because of my internet connection. Not sure. So if it goes out again, I'll probably just end this because it was more just trying to test it. But or if anybody wants to try to come in, I don't know. I just don't know if I'm gonna. My connection might be too slow to do it. But what? How come everybody's still awake? What have you been? Any new Mandelas or any? I'll just, it was so weird because about 2 months ago, my thumbs were hurting like crazy for about, 6 to 8 weeks or so. Then it quit totally. And now it's back and my hand looks even stranger than ever. And it looks like the thumb has like a weird knuckle at the bottom. Does anybody else have been having that? And also, let's see what else. Oh, headaches is normal. Trouble sleeping or sleeping all the time. It seems like the last week or so I've been just sleeping all the time. So I don't know, what's up with that. A lot of people have been complaining about their shoulders. I was moving boxes, so I think that's why my shoulders were hurting because they weren't before that. But my thumbs have been hurting and just my head hurts pretty much all the time now. But I'm glad you guys are helping me test this out. This is kind of fun. I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it or not. I get leg cramps a lot, Landon. But I don't know if I get enough potassium or magnesium. I've heard that for some reason we don't get enough in this world or something. But yeah, I was gonna try to see if this is gonna work for me. I might have to put it on a delay, but now it seems like it's not buffering quite as much. So that's good. Yeah, I have you guys noticed? I don't know if any of you had a chance to look at my video on Alaska, but it was so strange when I saw that little knobby thing on the western edge of Alaska. I was like, what in the heck is that doing there? And that was the first time I'd noticed it. I mean, Alaska just looks nuts to me. I don't know. Just looks totally, totally nuts. I don't know if I can put it up there or not. Maybe I can try, but so who of you has people in your life that that are affected? I have a friend that he sees stuff, but his memory is really bad. Like he's starting to notice, like he'll notice the T's, like the left hand bead, and of course JFK. He agreed with me on that, so I can talk to him and maybe one other person in real life. Do you guys have very many people in real life that you can talk to about it? Yeah. So I don't know. You know, it'd be better if we all were closer or something like that. But yeah, I think all our geography is just going crazy. I think Alaska's going to be touching Russia pretty soon, or Pangea is going to form, or something like that. But I always feel kind of funny um, uh, mentioning it though, because uh, um, you know, Nobleness and Lone Eagle do such a good job, and so. But if any of you guys want to come in, you can email me and, or wait, let's see, how do I add people? Gmail, I guess, but you can, my email is just rainontheplains@gmail.com. You can email me and I can send you a link for it. Or I might have to, let's see. Yeah, I could send you a link for it. If anybody wants to come in, that'd be great. But okay, so brother noticed a silver leg on C3. Yeah, that was so stupid. I can't, I don't know. Sometimes, you know, when I look at my stats for my channel, it's like all of us, or all of the people that watch mine anyway, are about my same age. And so I'm wondering, like, I guess little kids have it too, because Mandela affected his kids have it, are affected. And you know, I've heard of some younger, well, and then even Moneybags too. But so you know, it just seems like it's more of people from like 40 to 55 or 60 or something like that. So I don't know what's up with that. But let's see. This was mostly just a test stream. I should have had some things I wanted to talk about. Oh, I will say a really strange dream that I had. That, you know, I've never ever thought that I was let's see. Oh, QP. Yeah, well, that's what I was trying to see about that, about the stream, and see, I told him a time that I wanted to do it, but when I did my test without making it public like this, it just wasn't working very good. And like you saw, you know, it was kind of choppy at first, so I'm not sure. I'll see. I'd like to do it. So I told him already I didn't think it was going to work, but if this is noticing, then maybe that's okay. But anyway, I was going to tell you guys this dream that I had that was strange. I've never ever thought I was abducted before, and I don't necessarily think this is an abduction or anything. But anyway, I'd been having massive headaches. In fact, I'd gotten thrown up sick for, like, you know, like people sometimes do with a migraine, which I have never done that before, ever. And the Schumann, I don't know if it has anything to do with it at all, but it was going off the charts. And anyway, got sick. I laid down. I thought, you know, I'll just put on some of that 7.83 hertz music to go to sleep to. Well, fell asleep and had just this weird dream. I was in, like, you know, I live on a farm, so I was out in the Quonset or whatever, and I was just petting this cat, and all of a sudden, this is in the dream, of course, and it all of a sudden it just looks at me and said, you know, I really didn't like my lunch today. And then all the animals started talking to me, and it was so weird, and some other weird things happened. And then I said, Lord, make this stop. And all of a sudden I just, or no, okay, so it stopped, but then I like woke up like in a hospital room, and two nurses came in and like gave me like some medicine in my back or something. And so, and I've always had this little mark for the past few months on my back. So I don't know. I've never thought of abductions before or anything like that. But anyway, and then when I woke up after that, my computer was had completely shut down. So I thought that was really weird dream. Let's see. Trying to think if I heard something on my computer. I don't know if somebody tried to email me about coming in or not. But anyway, so I don't know. I don't think it was an abduction or anything, but that was the first time I thought of the possibility of it. So let's see here. Let's see. I might check my email. Oh, yeah, sure. Great. Okay. Well, let me reply to this email. Oh, shoot. It's not that one. Darn it. Okay. I can't see. I don't have my glasses on. All right. Before I do that, let's see. Yeah, I know, with that mark, because it won't go away. And I even had my friend take a picture of it. Okay, let me try to reply to the person that wants to get in. Let's see here. That'd be great too. Okay. Sorry, I'm having some dead air here. I'm trying to. Oh, that's not. Oh, wait, here we go. I'm just learning how to do this, so I hope you guys can be a little patient. First timer and everything. Okay, let's see. Okay, I got it sent. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so Sarah Plume. I dreamed yesterday that I had a huge heart-shaped energy flame in my chest area. Yeah, I've had some really strange dreams since, finding out about all this. And then also just, obviously the same thing as everybody else. No sleep for 3 days or something, basically, and then just nothing. And it's almost like, it almost feels like you're being drugged or something, or at least that's how I feel. It's like I just cannot physically wake up. It's crazy. But yeah, so this is working a little bit better than I thought it was. I thought it wasn't going to be feasible for me to do it because my connection is extremely slow. But I shut everything else down and only have like the things open that I need to. Okay, so let me just let me shout out to everybody that's here: Landon, QP, Susso, preliminal. Everybody has trouble with that.
Uh-oh.
Oh, hi there. Thanks for joining. Thanks for helping me out on this.
Yeah, I figure I wish somebody was around to help me when I was trying to figure this stuff out.
Yeah, it's a little tricky. I mean, I've called in, but doing it yourself but I did it. I set mine to private and I tried it about 4 or 5 times. I just didn't think it was going to work out. So I thought, well, I'll just do a live one, see what happens, see if I can handle this or not. So, but anyway, I'd love to visit you sometime because you're only about maybe 3.5 hours. Oh, no. You'd be more than that, about 4 hours away. But wow. I'd like to get up to the mountains. Oh, the extreme northeastern part of the state where it's flat and farm ground.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, but it's coming out of my speakers and I'm trying to figure out why. I'm still learning this stuff too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I come up anytime. I tell everybody where I'm at. I don't care.
Yeah, I know where it is. I've been to I've been where you live before. But it looks so pretty up there. Of course, I love the mountains.
Up in Leadville, you've been here?
Oh yeah. No, I mean not lately, but when I was a kid, I've been there and stuff because I grew up in Colorado. So.
So where you down south now?
No, I'm on the plains, the northeastern corner. So I'm only about 4 hours from you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I used to be, I lived in Kentucky for a while and then, for 15 years, then Iowa for a brief stint, and then Alabama for 2.
It's flat in Kentucky, right?
Not where I was.
Oh, I'm thinking of Kansas.
Yeah. Oh, they got big difference.
Whoops.
Yeah. Yeah, big difference. Yeah, where I live is basically, Kansas and Nebraska. It's, but it's still, it's, I don't know. Well, if you see the background picture, that's a picture that I took of where I live. I mean, it's dead flat. Dead flat. So let's see. I'm not keeping up with the chat. Hi, just me, Colleen. Thanks for joining. So I think one of the thing interesting about you and me, Suso, is that we experienced ours in and maybe even the late 70s, but I know minimum early 80s, right?
Well, yeah, with the McDonald's thing, it was 79 for me, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's about the best time I can pinpoint it. That was, yeah, and that's, it's funny because I've been affected since 2015, and the McDonald's thing came up, and I just, I kept blinking at it and looking at it, and I'm like, I just don't know. There's something strange about that, and I blew it off. And
Mm-hmm.
2 years later, 2.5 years later, I'm going, you know what? It's like, and that happens a lot. It happened with the Listerine. I've always thought Listerine was LY, and I mean, just always. And I've seen it, and I almost had that same kind of idea where, hey, it's more modern now, or I just assume they just changed the spelling. I mean,
Yeah, I think I have a memory. Oh, I know I have a memory of McDonald's changing, and I think I do with Listerine too, but I can't be 100% sure on that. But I remember MAC for McDonald's for sure because I thought the same thing. It's just weird. You think, I wonder why they changed that. And then my first one that I noticed was John Deere went from just without the E on the end to the E on the end. And I'm like, oh, why would they do that? I was so confused about it because I grew up on a farm, it was crazy. And then, looking back on things now, I know I had other ones in the 80s. Like I know for me, Christopher Reeve, Sally Field, Rod Sterling or whatever, and Charles Schultz, all their names changed in the 80s because I know I wasn't in college yet. So it had to be 80s. So, because I graduated in 86. So all of those happened then. And then there's probably others. And then I also had some probably, all throughout. All throughout. Are there any others that you remember from the 80s?
from back then, there, I think it was just the Mac and the Listerine. From back then, no, but I mean, I really haven't sat and thought about it. And I mean, let's see, I would go as early as the 90s and say there was a movie title that I thought, wow, I must have looked at it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And like I've said, I figure this has probably been going on for a while. And if it's only periodical, then yeah, you think somebody's manipulating it, somebody else is doing it. But if it's all the time, I think it's natural. I think has to be a natural part to this.
Well, let me ask you a question because I know that you say that I know the story of how you were impaled and stuff because I've listened to you on a couple other interviews and then on your own channel too. But was there anything like before you noticed McDonald's that you could have died? Do you think?
Yes. That same year, probably before, and I can't pinpoint the time. I don't know exactly when it was, but it was about the same time period, and probably just prior to noticing the McDonald's change. I was on I-95 in Philadelphia, pouring rain. Teenager in my mom's car. I got to get home. And I'm just flying down 95, and I come up to two 18-wheelers, and I can split right through them. to go right through them. And that was, one was on my right, one was on my left. And that's just exactly what I was going to do. So I just hit the gas and I immediately hydroplaned and went up on two wheels, the two passenger side wheels. My wheel, the driver's side wheels were in the air. At least that's how it felt. And, I just went in shock. But the next thing I knew, the car was back on all fours. And that time in between it being up on its side to the time it was back on all fours, I don't remember. There was no impact. Oh, that's the word I should have used in the book. There was, because I described it in the book, and I'm like, all right. There was no impact coming down, and I don't say that in the book. Oh, see, I'm getting the proof Wednesday,
Mm-hmm.
and I know
Cool.
now. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that, and I know now I'm going to want to change that now because that's going to make so much more sense. Because I keep thinking, all right, I'm going to
It'll
see.
make more of an impact.
Right, but that was it would. I mean, I have to read. I'm gonna, as soon as I get off here, I'm gonna have to go back and look and see how I wrote it, because I don't remember there. I don't recall anything in between that, and there was no impact. I think that's key, and I was just on all fours again, and I just, tapped the brakes, slow down, and I just stayed behind those trucks the rest of the way. Um, I remember praying. I mean, when I was in the air, I remember Archangel Michael. Boom, that was flying out of my mouth, and that's,
Mm-hmm.
I was big into Archangel Michael Violet Flame decrees back then. I was just starting looking at them. I don't think I was very big into them yet. I don't know. It was close. No, not quite yet.
Well, see, because I have something that I think, uh, but I did it to myself. I had a friend that committed suicide. Like I took a whole bottle of aspirin, which I don't think that would kill you, but maybe it did. I don't know. It's kind of an embarrassing thing to admit to, but that I don't know for sure that that's when I started seeing the changes, but it is around the same time frame. I know that.
Well, even if it wasn't enough to kill you in some timeline, it was probably enough to shift you. And I
Yeah,
wouldn't,
that's
I
true.
wouldn't say everybody, oh, okay, well, I want to shift, go run around and grab a bottle of aspirin.
Right.
When I was in Mississippi, one of the big conversations on this site that I was on was, is there a way to actually make yourself shift? Can you shift? I've been going through this formula to do it just practically unconsciously and just have a desire and boom. And that would be the instant manifestation that I've read about in the 80s that was supposed to be happening around 2012. And what I did was they were coming up with these things. So what I did one time, I stuck a candle in between me and a mirror. It was between midnight and 3 a.m. I think that was part of what you were supposed to do. And I just stared at my face in the mirror with nothing but the candle in between us. And I
Mhm.
saw some things, and I really, oh wow, I'm picking up the excitement from that experience. I really, at the time, I was absolutely convinced I was shifting. I didn't need proof. I didn't have to look at. I'm going to have to start writing another book because this ain't in there either. Um, yeah, the excitement is good here. I got to keep this up because I think that's so important. The emotions that we carry, I think it's so important.
Mhm. Mm.
And I'm right now. I'm on a really high vibe for absolutely no reason except that I'm talking.
Well,
uh, God knows I love to talk. Uh,
right.
but that feeling when I was looking in the mirror, I mean, my face, I was looking straight ahead, and my head in the mirror would go, I don't know, a half a foot to the left and then back, and I was, and I'm in the dark, and I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, now is that my eyes playing tricks on me? And I said, you know what? I don't care if that's what it is. That's what it is. I'm not going to sit here and analyze it. I'm going to experience this. And then it went 6 inches to the right and back. And then I'm staring and my face is changing and I can see other faces in the mirror. I
Oh,
did it.
wow.
I did it for about 15 minutes. Yeah, it was actually getting kind of creepy. I mean, I would see some demonic stuff going on in that mirror, just in the face. And I was just like, whoa. And I was just accepting it and just going with it. And, it might have been some kind of cleansing going on there. I'm not even sure. I did a lot of cleansing in Mississippi.
Hmm. Now, where in Mississippi were you? Because I'm pretty familiar with the southern part.
The Iberville?
Uh, oh, so right around the casinos then.
Well, yeah, the Scarlet Pearl Casino opened up in November of, I want to say 16. And that is the first the Iberville Casino. It's right over the bridge to Biloxi.
Yeah, I moved back to Colorado January of 2016, so I wouldn't have been there that time, but I spent
Mhm.
plenty of time there before that.
My very first video you'd recognize it's in the Gulf on the Gulf of Mexico. I come out, I'm walking on the beach. I go, it looks flat.
Yeah, yeah, I saw it.
That's
Yeah,
like
I saw
this.
that video because I was wondering if if you were by the casinos or if you were closer to the or I'm sorry, the Louisiana state line. So, but yeah, I used to go to well, all of them really, but the bow I liked a lot and the Hard Rock.
Uh, what was that? The Bow?
Beau Rivage, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I couldn't remember the whole name because everybody always called it the Bow. And
Hmm.
that was the main casino there, the big one or whatever. That's where everybody seemed to go. And when we opened up, when the Scarlet Pearl opened up, I was there 6 months to the day. It was so funny because synchronistically, I wanted out. My desire was to get out, and I was going to get out. And it was just going to happen. It was going to happen the right way. It was going to happen in its own time. And I saw it. I'm looking at this physically. I'm looking at it, and I'm going, I'm not getting out of Mississippi for 2, 3 years. And I was there a month, and I hated it. And I'm like, I got to get out of here. This isn't happening. I mean, I got a job. It was 11,000 people applied for a job. 22 got hired. It's like I
Yeah, that's great.
kind of had to take it. I left Colorado casinos to go down there and do that, figuring I had more opportunity to move up in the business. That was the thing I wanted to do. I wanted to run a casino. That's what was in my head. Once I took the word casino out, my desire came to fruition.
Oh, wow.
That's what I'm doing at the bar. I mean, I didn't realize, it's like just because I started dealing at 17 years old in Atlantic City, didn't mean I had to stay in the casino business forever, even though 33 years seems like it could be forever.
Hmm.
Um, and I just, you know, uh,
So,
got
tell me what you hated about. Was it just the weather or the casino itself? Or
Mississippi. Oh, so much. I say so much. The things I remember saying is, where are all the tall buildings? There was nothing over 2, 3 stories.
well, yeah, the bow was what, maybe 15 at the most or
Uh,
something like that.
that was it, right?
And that's the tallest building in Mississippi.
Right, and I had to go there just to kind of get that city feel. And I'm not like one of those city people by any means, but every once in a while, I like to travel into the city, look at people, look at cars, and leave. Because as soon as I get there and see all the traffic and the people and the buildings, I'm like, okay, that's enough. Let's go back to the mountains. And
Mm. Well,
uh,
not that Mobile's very much bigger, but did you ever go to Mobile, or did you go to New Orleans very much?
I drove through New Orleans. I did not go to Mobile, not that I know. I drove. It's like I drove to New Orleans just to go there, and the timing was just bad. The by the time I got there, I was like, you know what? I'm ready to go back. I said, I'm getting too close to other places I could just stay. And without,
Yeah.
I'm like, I got to go back before I forget about my responsibilities.
So how did you get to Leadville then, if so you didn't want to go back to casinos then?
No. The synchronicity part was, I mean, I was going through a lot of things in Mississippi, which was weird. The main experiences to me happened in Colorado. And when one of the things I point out is that, my diet changed when I left Colorado to go to Mississippi. There was no meat after the orb experience.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I started to have all these experiences. And when I went to Mississippi, it changed. I started eating turkey and shrimp. So the experiences, I would say, were no less freaky, but just different.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually did a automatic writing thing. I just sat down and started doing it. I started asking questions out loud, and my hand just started writing the answers. And it kept saying, "You'll be back in Colorado." Basically, it said, "You'll be back in Colorado in April." And I'm like, that's just not possible. I don't, I said, okay, I'm going to, and I kept, when I was saying, I was thinking to myself, that's not possible. And I kept getting in my head, don't get rid of that thought that it's not possible. So I kind of let it go. And that's what happened in April. Um, I was doing my job, and I had people above me threatening my life in front of other people at the casino. And this is getting a little deep in there. I don't know if I want to go too deep with this, but I kept taking it to people, and they kept telling me, it didn't really happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to go higher and higher and higher. And I'm like, I realized I was getting nowhere. So I finally took it to where I had to take it. And they finally turned around and said, well, here's a check. We want you to leave. Or they did give me the offer to change shifts. But I said, you know what? I don't want to be here anyway.
Right.
I'm not being treated the way I need to be treated for the job I'm doing. I'm not, anyway, I took the check. It wasn't enough to retire on, but it was enough to, uh, I was going to drive up the East Coast and check out all the ballparks. That's what I was going to do. So I get in my car and I'm headed to Miami. And I don't believe I made it to I don't think I got out of Mississippi. I was on the phone with people, just talking with them, telling them what was going on. And the one guy said, look, I got a job for you in the middle of the Rockies. I mean, you'd be a cook or a prep cook. And I said, well, I got nowhere to stay. Because now you'll stay here. Right? It'd be cheap rent. And I said, all right, why not? I said, I'm not tethered to any time at that moment. I was like, what felt good? I said, yeah, I'd go back to Colorado. I wouldn't mind being in the middle of the mountains. So I'd take off, go to Houston, watch a ball game. I shoot back up to Colorado. Missed Arlington by about an hour. Um,
Hmm.
that was it. That's how I got into Leadville. I did every position here the first year, from server, bartender, prep cook, cook, whatever.
Well, that was preparing you for the manager.
That's exactly what it was. And even then, I was still saying, um, I want to run a casino and I want to run it properly. That was
Mm-hmm.
that was my desire, and it was October, September of last year when I took the word casino out. And I mean, other things came into play. I mean, I'm not saying I created this and I made this happen, because there were other things going on. I mean, I went ahead and did like the formula or whatever you want to say. I felt like I was going to go out and create, and I took the word casino out and I said, I want to run a business and I want to run it properly. And I meditated on it and I felt it and I saw it happening. And I said, it does not have to be the Silver Dollar Saloon. I mean, it does not have to be here where I'm working. I said, I just want to run a business and I want to run it right. And a week later, the owner's brother's calling me, telling me, get the keys off the guy that's running the place. You're the new manager. 5 days after that, his brother died.
Oh, goodness.
I didn't, well, he knew it was coming. I mean, he knew it was happening. That's why he fired the other guy. They knew what was going on. And He said, no, this place was being run into the ground. And the nephew was here watching things, go see what was going on. And he said, you got to make Anthony the manager. He's the only person that cares about this place. Not the only person, but
So, do you have people at work who are affected?
I've affected them if they weren't. Um,
That's what I was wondering.
Eric, the manager, Eric, I call him the what is that? The GM? Yeah, I call him the GM. See, the owner turns around and says, "Look, okay, you're both managers, you're equals." And I said, "Yeah, how's that possible? He's related to you." I don't get that. It's like, no, you're equals. I said, well, that doesn't matter. So I'm still. He's on the other side of the country. I'm not an idiot. I know it. I see what's going on here. So I told him. I told Eric. I said, look, you're the GM. I'll be the finance manager. How about that? He's like, all right, you got it. That's what we call you. Because like this, I'm see what's important here is for me is what I'm capable of was recognized, and and
Yeah.
and, and it didn't take some big casino. You know, it took the oldest bar in Summit County, and that Doc Holliday visited, and Molly
Hmm.
Brown and White Earp. So and I'm living in a nice size room facing the mountains with cat towers in the way. I guess that's okay. Um, I'm gonna have a jacuzzi on the porch. I mean, what it's like, and people are like, you're just a bartender. Okay, I'm okay with that. I'm not struggling like I was when I was working in the casino. It was week to week, constantly.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
All right. So, Jim just joined in. Hi, Corey. I don't know if I said your name out loud. See if any. I don't know if I said Plume Sarah earlier. If I didn't, sorry.
yeah, it's
But
great
we have,
doing the shouts. I don't do that on my shows. I don't do the shouts. I don't. I don't. I don't. I'm not trying to be rude. I just.
yeah.
I don't
Well, I
know.
don't know how to do this at all, but I'm just kind of taking my cues from other stuff that I've seen. But I didn't know how this was going to go, if even it would work at all. But
and
uh,
and then ended up being a thing about my life over here.
yeah, but
uh,
that's all right. Nothing wrong with that.
yeah.
So, like, is it fun for you to, like, customers when they come in and you ask them questions? I mean, do you think a lot of them leave affected then?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. As a matter of fact, I'll pop up the video as soon as we get off here. It's ready to go. There was a girl um, last night. Yeah, last night. I videotaped her 2 nights ago. I don't know. Anyway, she was totally just. You could see the look on her face, and I love that. I'm like totally. She's like, no way, that's not happening. That's not the way it is. I think the last video I put up, or two of them, there was a couple of interviews from the bar in it. Um, and her and her boyfriend are just staring at the phones, and they're like, "That's not possible." So, and I try to explain to them. I said, "I just don't stop there. You don't want to just hang on to, oh my God, physical reality is changing. Cool." Because I think that's what a lot of these younger kids are doing. I mean, I, I had a kid come in the other day. We were talking about. He's like, yeah, I know all about the misremembering thing, and I'm like, dude, are you serious? He goes, okay. Except for the Berenstain thing. He goes, I don't get that. But okay, so and you're just going to let it go at that? He's like, yeah, the kids just don't. Some of them just don't care.
Yeah, well, my kids are both affected. All three of us remember the Sinbad movie, but um, but they don't care. They're just like, yeah, I know it's different. I know things are weird, but I've got my life to live and whatever.
Right, right. I mean, and
But
in a sense, they're not wrong, are they? I mean,
right.
you know, and me with running around saying, no, we have to create. We're going to create.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just with them, it's like at least that they know, even though they don't care, At least they know I'm not crazy, you know.
Oh yeah, that helps. Well, it's funny you mentioned that. Now, when I in Mississippi, I had the conversation with my daughter. Do you know that story?
I don't think so.
Well, I called her up and I was reading on the Mandela Effect, and I read this thing. It says Louis Anderson is still alive. I'm like, wow, I thought he was dead. And I call up my daughter. Now, I don't know why I would have called her because, I'm thinking of this. I'm like, this is kind of strange that I would call her to bring that up because I don't know why I would think she would know who Louis Anderson is. So
Hmm.
I call her up and I say, hey, Chrissy, what's up? And he said, Dad, I'm in Starbucks with my girlfriend. We're doing a project. I can't really talk. I said, oh, okay, I'll go. Hey, wait, she's going to the bathroom. I got a couple of minutes. I said, great. I said, you know this? Remember Louis Anderson? She says, yeah, the guy that did Family Feud that died. And I said, yeah, well, he's still alive. And she says, oh, no way. I said, yeah. She says, that reminds me of a movie I saw. I said, what's it called? She said, I don't know. She goes, she says, she goes, this woman kept feeding her dead father spaghetti. And I said, what? She goes, yeah, that reminds me of that movie. Dad, I got to go. My girlfriend's back. I said, all right, I'll talk to you later. Hang up the phone. The next day I wake up, I go to the library. And at the time, even though, it wasn't TV for me, but I would still watch sci-fi movies and outer space. Um, yeah, I was fighting it. I mean, I knew, but I was still like, well, I'm still going to watch Star Trek, and it was hard for me, but I would still do it. And it was real science fiction then.
Hmm.
Um, so I pick up Star Trek reboot. I pick up Batman Begins. I pick up Prometheus, and I'm like, all right, that's enough. So I start walking out, and I see this movie popping out, and Anthony Hopkins' face is on it. And I said, oh, let me grab that. I pick it up. It's called Proof. It's not science fiction. It's not something I would ever watch. I
Yeah, I've
take
seen it.
I take it. Okay. Well, then you already know the punchline. um, I take it home. It's the first movie I put in. I start rambling off the dialogue, and I've never seen this movie before. So I hit pause, and I'm walking around, and I'm thinking to myself, because I'm, shaking up, and I'm like, well, why am I shaking up? All the crap that's been going on to me, I should be getting excited when something starts to happen. And that's actually something that started to happen. Everything time something would happen, I'd start to get excited about it. But I go back to the movie, and this woman starts feeding her dead father spaghetti. And I'm like, what? And the movie's called Proof.
Hmm. That's so odd. It's so crazy.
No, it gets better. I put the movie down, call up my daughter, Chrissy, you're not going to believe this. I tell her that whole story. I pick up the movie, put it in. It's called Proof. The movie's called Proof. What movie, Dad? The movie you told me about yesterday. Um, with the woman feeding her dead father spaghetti. Dad, I don't know what you're talking about. I was in a coffee shop with my girlfriend yesterday doing a project. I was not on the phone.
That is so crazy.
Okay. Now I've never now and then of course I hang up because I'm sitting there talking to my daughter about this and I went, oh, you know what, it was Aunt Maureen. It was Aunt Maureen. I'm trying to change the whole subject because I'm trying to not let my daughter think I'm crazy. So as soon as I no sooner hang up the phone, my mother calls me screaming at me. What are you talking to your daughter about this shit for? I have not spoken with any of them about it until about a week ago, 2 weeks ago. I spoke with my daughter about it. And I told her the whole story. And she's going, Dad, that's weird. I remember you talking to me um, about that, but that I did not get that call. But she goes, what's weirder is I don't, she's like, I vaguely, what was it? I remember the conversation we had. We definitely didn't talk before that. I have no idea who Louis Anderson is. That's the stuff she's saying. Why? That's just strange. She goes, I don't understand. She goes, but I wasn't into it then. She says, I kind of was blowing you off as one of your other conspiracies. She goes, but now I said, yeah, because before this I mentioned Curious George. And she's like, has a tail. And I'm like, Mickey Mouse. And she's like, has suspenders. The Monopoly Man wears a monocle. She was right there with all this stuff. And I'm like, well, guess what? You've been affected by this
Mhm.
this Mandela Effect. So now I don't know how far she's gotten into it soon. We haven't had long conversations like that. She was getting into it. But I got to tell you, when I was down in Mississippi, that was after the impalement. And I really felt like a lot of my family was residing in timelines where I was dead. And I don't know that she was one of those people because we were always close and always kept in touch. And, it's always been good with her and I. So I don't know that even though she wasn't affected, now she is. I drew her closer to a timeline I'm residing in, and I just thought that was really neat that you brought that up about the kids because you know, to- yeah, that was just neat.
Yeah, because I mean, if they weren't affected, I think I'd go crazy, honestly, because it just helps so much for me to be able to talk to them. And then I have one friend, well, two really, and they're close by, which is nice, especially living in such an isolated area. But yeah, it's just people, they look at you like, why are you so weird now?
Oh well, see, I've been getting that my whole life. Walking around telling people about the aliens.
Mm-hmm.
That boy, do I feel like a fool now. I mean, I'm thinking if there's aliens, to me, they're probably interdimensional or some other dimension. They're probably not physical. If they're physical, they're just on the other side or underneath or whatever.
Yeah, my opinion now is just that they're if they exist, that they're fallen angels or something in spiritual or interdimensional world,
Right.
like just like
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I like that.
yeah.
Sure, because that would be outside of this physical realm.
Hmm.
I like that. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
So
I'm
you don't
picking that
have
one right up.
so you don't have like any specific um reason that you can point to for the Emmy,
For the
or you,
for why the Mandela effect exists.
yeah.
I I think it's how we create motion in time. I think we're shifting every nanosecond to create time and physical reality. I mean, physical reality, yeah, that too, because every nanosecond is a different frame, and we're shifting in that time frame within the parameter, so everything's the same. And then we cause a shift by simply driving to work differently, going a different route, doing something that you're afraid to do, not doing something you don't want to do or you want to do, not doing something you want to do. And when you make drastic changes, I feel like you're shifting, and you're not going to shift. It might not be that big of a shift where you're going to notice, holy cow, Kit Kat doesn't have a dash. What? I mean but I think we can. I really feel like we can. I feel like we can manipulate this. If they are, why can't we? I mean,
Well, see, that's what I'm wondering is that you never heard people like grandparents or anybody talking about this stuff. Is it something? I do think it's always happened. I do that, but is it something that's accelerating? I guess is my question.
sure, computers, technology. Back in '79, when I saw the McDonald's sign, the first thing I thought was, oh, they modernized the sign. I didn't think, oh, they took an A out or the A's missing. What happened to the A? Okay, let's say I did. I said, oh, they changed the spelling. Well, let me go look it up. Let me run home and jump online. Wait, it's '79. I can't do that. So I got to go to the library and I got to look up all the history on the name of McDonald's. And
Yeah.
and and I got to hope all that stuff just didn't shift. Or and I don't even have a theory at this point. I have no idea what it is. I'm looking up McDonald's and I'm like, well, wait a minute. I know for a fact it was MAC, but all the information in the library is coming up MC. So now I start talking at '79, right? So now I'm going to go start and I'm going to start talking to my friends. Hey, when did McDonald's change to McDonald's? What are you talking about? It's always been McDonald's. What are you, crazy? Well, who and okay, so let's say I get one friend who goes, "Yeah, it was Mac. What's going on?" I don't know. Let's look into it. Where are we going to go from there? Even if there's two of us, and who are we going to talk to?
I know.
There's no internet. There's nobody to communicate the changes. There's three people in San Francisco and two people in Canada that noticed, but they're not even talking to each other. How would we connect? It's definitely the computer that helped with this.
Yeah. I'm kind of at the same time, I'm glad that I grew up the way I did, even though life would have been, I don't know, it would have been easier in some ways, but harder in others just because, I don't know, it's just more simple then. Everything's
No,
so much more
yeah, and
simple.
you know what? Simple is more real. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I walk by somebody and their head's in the phone.
Hmm.
I'll be tending bar, and I look up and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. There's seven people at the bar, six of them are looking at the phones. I go, all right, everybody that's on their phone, get out, and they all start laughing. I said, "What? You didn't?" And I got a couple sitting there. I'm like, "You two came to the bar together to have a beer, so you can get on the phone, and are you at least texting each other?"
I know,
They
it's
start
crazy.
laughing. I said, "What?" And they just laugh, and they're like, and some people are like, "Yeah, no, I shouldn't be doing this," and they feel bad about it. I'm like, just shut the thing off. I tell them, try leaving it at home. Try
Exactly.
try doing that. And I'm listen, even when I do it, oh, I'm like, ooh. For a second, I'm lost, but I get back. I'm 4 blocks away going to a restaurant to have dinner. And oh, you gotta be kidding me. I looked out the window and it's snowing again. Oh well. I'm only 3 blocks away from my phone and for a couple of seconds, I'm like, damn, I could have been looking up YouTube videos or I mean, I'm in a restaurant, sit, enjoy the meal, I mean,
Right.
enjoy the ambiance.
See, that's one problem that I think I've had since like I said, I've had this for so long, but didn't know what it was. But ever since, you know, September, October, whenever, it's just like it's all I can research and study and think about. And I'd like to be able to put it away sometimes and just enjoy life again,
So,
you
so
know.
this, so this just happened for you in September,
Just coming to the realization of it. I mean, like I said, I've had effects,
right?
for a long time, but yeah, it was just last fall. And I just excuse me. The there's a couple main things that uh well, the main thing was an eczema for some odd reason. I
I
about
noticed that, but I don't know what it is.
well, it's
I
just skin cream and it has
well,
a
no,
like
no.
a
What I'm saying is, I noticed the change in the name
oh
back way. There was a change in the name, I think, and I just feel like it was different. But the Mandela Effect wasn't around for me when I.
hmm. Well, when I was a kid, I used Noxzema and it had the Z in it. And then about a year ago, I was in Walmart and I'm like, they dropped the Z. And then I noticed somehow that it had changed back to the Z again. So that was my first flip flop. And I'm like, what the heck? I just knew that that wasn't possible. And then I started researching it. And, my sons were saying, yeah, we were looking it up when we realized that Sinbad didn't exist. And then when I looked up at the physical globe and a physical Bible and saw all those changes, I was just flipped. I mean, it's just like, your face just kind of goes white and your stomach drops and you're just like, what's going on?
I
It's
know.
so radical.
Well, see, that's the thing. What for me, it was the JFK,
Oh yeah, well that was a huge one for me, an early one for me too.
and I studied that in the '80s, and I mean, I wasn't going to get around that. There's
Hmm.
nothing's. I could sit here. See, it's funny. I say that, but it's wrong. I can justify almost every Mandela effect, and they sound crazy, but no crazier than we shifted through timelines. I mean,
Right.
shifting through timelines makes more sense than some of the stuff I was coming up with to debunk these things, like the JFK assassination. I'm saying there's actually 8 people in that car, and every few years they change the film. But that makes no, you'd still find a lot of residual on that. That there somebody would have a film. They didn't come into my house and change the VCR that I studied,
Right.
which is in Philadelphia, and there is 6 people now in that video. And one of the guys I studied it with is telling me, dude, what are you talking about? There was always 6 people. And I went, "Oh, Don, you're killing me." And he goes, "No, no, it's okay. My consciousness always resided in the timeline where there was always six people." He goes, "I get it," which I
Yeah.
just thought was funny. I mean, yeah, I can talk with people like that, or if nothing else, they understand me and they're appeasing me. But it's got to be more than appeasing when you understand and you can talk that way. And
You wonder, like, if they've always been in this Orion timeline or whatever, do
well,
they go to a timeline where, there's four and then they flip out? They're like, what happened to the middle seat?
right.
Oh, gosh.
I'm not sure they're anyway. They are who they are for me in this timeline. I have no idea where their real consciousness is. You know, the more distant people are to me, I figure, well, they're in a far off timeline. They're out doing World War III somewhere or something, or they're experiencing Armageddon somewhere, which a lot of those people are going to be doing because that's where their focus is. That's what they're going to experience.
I wonder what determines timelines, though. That's what's, it's like,
Well,
why would,
if well, go ahead. What are you
well, I
gonna
was just going to say, like, why would certain family members just seem like they're not, well, I know I don't seem the same person to them either, but it was just doesn't seem, you know, close to certain people that I used to be close to.
That's because they're shifting away in a different direction
Hmm.
to learn what they need to learn or do what they need to do, or
Yeah.
and I'm going to use this term because I really don't know what else to use, but they're going to ascend some other time. They'll ascend into some other life, or they'll go through these things and um, experience physical reality as malleable, like we are now at some other time. And I figure they're still in our lives because you know we have to still experience them in our lives. If it's even though we're not communicating with them, there was no reason to have them die, which would have caused probably some kind of trauma or sadness that we don't need to experience.
Hmm. But even being not as close is a little bit traumatic. Not obviously not as much as death would be, but yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, God, I speak to my brother every year and a half, and it's a 5 minute fight, and okay, talk to you later. I mean, and that's I just know there's something going on there.
Hmm.
And I just never even thought, wow, he might read my book someday. Probably I shouldn't have put that stuff in there. I don't know. That's not true. It'll be fun because
So
I really felt like he died years ago for most of my family.
So what do you think about, because I don't know that I've heard you talk about this much, and I'm not sure what my beliefs are on it, but what do you think about the simulation theory?
I think it's definitely possible. It, I mean, um, it makes sense to me with changes or shifts or things that are different. For instance, like the yield sign. What color is a yield sign?
Hmm. Well, it was always used to be yellow.
That's since 72. I just asked a couple of kids that at the kids, 20 something year olds, and they're just staring at me like, "You're crazy. It's yellow." And I said, "What shape is it?" It's like a box on its side or something like that. And I said, and she goes, "No, wait, it's a triangle." And the dude's going, "No, it's red." and they just, that was brutal. What was the question though? I didn't answer it.
Uh, well, it's just talking about like what your theory was on, simulation, but I
Oh,
can't remember if I said something after that or not.
yeah, but the simulation thing, I think it definitely could be an answer. I don't like it. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't matter if I like it. If that's what it is, it doesn't matter. I mean, um,
Yeah, the only
but
thing that kind of,
some of the weirder changes that don't make sense if it's a simulation to me.
well, I just don't know how you would see, like, or I'm not you, I'm talking about myself, how I would see all these repeating numbers all the time. I mean, there's something to that, I don't think it's
Yeah,
coincidence. Or I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. I just that to me makes it seem more like it almost has to be a simulation because how could it be how could you see that many repeating numbers all the time? You know,
Well,
I don't know.
I've definitely touched on it in some of my videos. The one where it really hit me, where I'm like, holy shit, we could be in a computer program, was when I realized, okay, if I'm the absolute of the absolute, pinpoint one, I only have myself and nothing. And to do that over and over again, myself and nothing, myself is zeros and ones. It's binary code. That's a computer program. Um,
Hmm.
so, I broke it down to as far as I could go. And I thought, and you know what? God might be a computer program, and physical reality, spirits, and souls, and all that might be the illusion, might be the fairy tale that the computer program wants to experience. So like that hasn't crossed my mind. That's probably why I steer away from that, because I'm like, I really don't like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, I just don't know. I kind of go back and forth between, I almost think it has to be quantum, or simulation, one or the other. But I think, I don't necessarily think it's CERN or D wave, but I think they could be accelerating it. And along like what you said, with just being able to communicate with other people and notice things and compare notes and stuff like
Right.
that as well.
Right. Hmm.
But you kind of have to wonder about like all these people, like even my son, one of my sons, he's like, I want to live forever. I want my brain downloaded into computer. And I'm like, what? He said that. And he's getting his master's in computer science. And I'm like, oh
Oh
my gosh,
wow.
I know, I'm scared.
Well, that's what. See, you got the program, you got the download. That's what they're feeding these kids, man. I don't know.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I kind of like sometimes, I don't know. I mean, there's worse ideas that he could have, I guess. I don't know. I mean, he's not a murderer, but I don't know. That bothers me. You know, I wouldn't want to be in a simulation, or I wouldn't want to be just like to purposely do it, you know?
I understand that, but but do you know what it's like to be not physical?
Right.
That's the other side. What if we're just batteries? Like the
Yeah.
Matrix. Then hey, it's might not be a bad idea. Or hey, you know what? I'll revert back to a baby avatar and do it again. I mean, or maybe not. Maybe I'll just shift to the next timeline where I don't die. I mean, eh, is there a point where we're actually supposed to figure out what's going on? Because look, it's part of the dark files. The whole spirit thing. I see. The thing is, I have experience with that, so I don't want to debunk that, play devil's advocate to the spirit and the soul, because I've left my body. I've had out of body experiences, and I've had one lucid dream, one in Mississippi, and I just would love to do that a couple times.
Hmm.
That was interesting.
Oh, I still think even if it's some type of hologram or simulation, I still think we have a soul. I mean, there's some kind of spirit because, our mind or consciousness doesn't reside in this physical body. So,
Right,
where does it go afterwards,
right,
Or,
right.
we just keep shifting or doing whatever, but I don't know.
Well, I've often thought that the stars are us,
Yeah.
that we're projecting ourselves down here.
Or, yeah.
They flicker like cameras sometimes, don't they?
Hmm. Yeah. But it's just, I find it odd though. It just didn't seem like they did it that much when we were kids, as much as they do now where they move and jump, or maybe we just notice it now more. But I
Well,
remember, I mean, living out here on the plains, if it's a clear night, I mean, it's beautiful,
I know
because
it's
it's so
awesome.
flat.
Yeah, and I'm so high up here that the stars are always brighter, and they just, to me, I mean, yeah, I've noticed that they look bigger. Um, somebody, I think it was on the Mandel. What's today? Is it Monday? The Mandel Monday show. I might have popped on, listened real quick, and got off. Somebody said something about the stars look like they're moving faster.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking, well, it's funny. I thought that, but I blew it off. I thought that the other day, but I blew it off. I was like, yeah, just losing track of time. And then I laugh because I'm like, well, I've woken up at 8 in the morning, went back to sleep, and woke up at 7 in the morning. Also happened in Mississippi.
Yeah, I'm missing some hours sometimes, and then I've experienced repeats, which I think is super odd. And it's not a deja vu; it's a different type of deal. But it's just,
Explain that. How's that work?
well, it's not like to me the difference between like a deja vu and a repeat is with the deja vu. Like when I was a kid, you have this sense that you know what's coming, or you've been in that scenario before. But with a repeat, like it happens like consecutively. You know what I mean? Like I've had it to where I was watching a show or whatever, and then went to the bathroom, came back, and the same three commercials played again. Now they're not going to do that. They might do one like, you know, 4 or 5 commercials down and do repeat it like that, but it's not going to, you're not going to see the exact same 3 commercials right after each other. you know I
Right.
don't know, it is crazy. And then, but it wasn't just even that, it's other things too. I can't remember. I have a couple of other examples where I've had repeats, but it was just like in a very short frame of reference. Well, and then like some people have experienced a whole day over again. I know Scott Harrison said one time that he woke up one Saturday and went to bed or whatever, and he woke up and it was Saturday morning again.
Oh,
So I don't know.
I didn't actually experience it the days like that. I know at the end of the week, I realized, well, I only worked 4 days, and it was the fifth day. I mean, I worked. I'm getting paid for 5, and on the books it was 5, but I only worked 4 days. The very next week, I worked 6 days, but it was a 5. It was a 5 day thing. It was like I worked one day less. I must have shifted or something. Went to a different day, and then the following week I added a day. Uh, I I just knew it
Yeah, that's
happened.
hmm yeah, stuff like that is just, I don't know. And I don't know if it's just us in the community talking to each other or whatever, but it seems like we're all seeing more and more stuff all the time like that. You know, kind of strange.
Oh, we should be used to it by now, right? We should.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not strange to me. I'm thinking, well, something put that in motion. It must have been me. I'm the observer. I'm going to take that um, the quantum theory as far as I can go. I mean, and even the quantum entanglement thing could be going on as well. I was wondering, what if I'm the clone? And I don't mean clone. I mean, what if I'm the other side of the mirror?
Right.
It's like, well, wait a minute. It doesn't matter. This is where my consciousness is. This is what I'm experiencing. This is the part that's real. I mean, that's the
Mm,
part, of experience. That's what matters.
yeah. Well, Suso, I think I'm going to cut this off. I thank everybody that came in to listen to us, and I just wanted to test it out, but it was a great conversation. I'm so glad you
Poured
called
my
in.
heart out all over the screen. It's like, God, you know what? I'm live. Stop that. I can't edit this.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great. So I think thanks a lot, and hopefully I'll get
Yeah, I
up
hope
there
I helped.
sometime.
Yeah, I tell everybody, Silver Dollar Saloon, Leadville, Colorado, come by anytime. I know people have come in to the bar and recognize me and don't say anything, and I don't like that. Just say
Hmm.
something. New Year's Eve, I had 2 couples come in, and they're going, "We're from Indiana or something. I don't know, another state somewhere over there," and they're like, "We had to stop through because we watch your channel." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" And they're like, "Yeah, yeah, we're going to eat. We'll come back and talk." They never did. It was New Year's Eve. I barely
Yeah.
expected it, but I thought that was neat. And I had another right after I put out the Picard Crystal video.
Hmm.
About 2 weeks after that, I had some woman she was with a group, and the only reason I noticed her is because every once in a while I'd look up. And I'm checking the bar, checking people's drinks. I'd look up and I notice she's looking at me, and I'm, and I, kind of smile and whatever. And at the right before they were leaving, she comes up to me, puts a quartz crystal on the bar, and says, "This is for you," and walked out. I was like, "Whoa, that was weird."
Yeah.
Um,
So I know I said I was going to go, but I have to ask you one more question.
oh, go.
You remember the gold rings on the wrists, or was it plain? I mean, it's plain for me on the original Star Trek. Or did you watch the original Star Trek series very much?
Oh, I watched them all. Are you kidding me? I was going to have my own starship.
Yeah,
Uh,
I love all of them. I mean, I like some more than others, but
They said there. I think I watched a video on that. Was that yours? With
no.
the gold. I remember the green outfit having the gold wristband, but the other ones I wasn't sure about.
Hmm. To me, they were plain, but I've been, for the past few months, I've been watching the original series, and so like I had to really search my memory banks, and then, but I'm pretty sure it was plain for me, but
I can definitely picture the plain one. So yeah.
no way did Picard have a crystal. I know that for a
No,
fact.
I know. And what was even weirder for me with that whole thing was I had a crystal, a quartz crystal, very similar to that one that I had for years. And I lost it in May, and that's that year. And then what was it, September? In May and September. There's those months again. It's like I lost that crystal, and it was just so stupid. And I I don't even know what to say about it. It was kind of just weird that I own that crystal, and I'm thinking, well, maybe in other timelines where he did have the crystal, and I knew it. That's why I own that crystal. I'm thinking I guess that's possible. It's not like I worship Star Trek. I mean, it's not like I'd be walking around with their props. But
Right.
I did dress up one year as a Star Trek character, but I mean, I thought, wow, I have this crystal in this timeline where Picard doesn't, and I'm thinking, man, off in some other timeline, I have it because Picard has it. I thought that was an interesting thought.
Oh yeah, definitely. Huh. So, real quick before we go, tell us, like, once how when do you think your book will be published?
Oh, um, I'm getting the proof Wednesday. That's what I called today. I was expecting it Friday, so of course, I give him a break call today. She told me they're overnighting it, and I'll have it Wednesday. Now I have to read through this thing and understand. I've read through it so many times already. I have other people offering to read through it, and I'm like, I really should just give it to somebody and say, here, finish this for me, and pinpoint some, things you don't understand or something like it might be able to explain better, or if you see any mistakes or whatever. I figure if I send it back to her with changes, that'll get done in another week. She'll send me another proof. And I think she said a week and a half to 2 weeks after I okay, or a week and a half after I okay it. So, if I okay this right away, I said back in September, if everything goes perfect, the book will be published in February or March. If I called her and said, go ahead and print it, if I tell her Wednesday to go ahead and print it, I would expect to have the books, at least 100 of them mailed to me by in the next weekend. And she's keeping the rest. I'm just going to put a link, and everybody's going to buy them through her.
Great.
Yeah.
Looking forward to reading it for sure.
So yeah, it's most of the stories in it. I'm like, God, I hope everybody's not going to be disappointed. Like, I know this story. I must have shifted because I swear I know this already. um, so I figure I would say 2 weeks, and what I'm doing is, yeah, first or second week in April, and what I'm doing is I'm having a trivia, Mandela Effect trivia next door at the coffee shop, the speakeasy in the back. It's going to be on a Thursday, and I'm going to film it live. At least that's the plan. And after the trivia thing, I'm going to have like a little book signing. I'm cracking up. This was the guy, the other guy, the guy that owns La Resistance next door is his idea. I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll have a little book signing.
Yeah, you should. You definitely should. That's a great idea.
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny, actually. It's
That's
cracking
what
me up.
authors do, don't they?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I'm sitting here practicing my signature all over again
Yeah.
now.
Oh. Well, let's wrap it up. But I'm so glad you called in, and thanks for participating in my first live stream,
Yeah,
everybody.
nice talking to you, Rain.
All right. Well, we'll see you around the interwebs.
Good night.
All right. Good night.